The first card you have for your past is the High Priestess. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm seeing introspection in this card. I think at this time you just wanted to be by yourself, actually. You just really felt like being alone, and you didn't want a lot of talk. You didn't want trivial chat, small talk, all of that kind of thing going on around you. But it was around you, because I don't think, yeah, you weren't physically alone. There were people around you. And I think usually you wouldn't mind being around these people. Yeah, I'm seeing family, so you probably had family around you. But I think maybe you're thinking something like, these people are all talking, but they're not actually saying anything. So they're talking about kind of trivial things and whatever, and the weather and all sorts of silly things. So, which is fine. I mean, people do that. But you felt as if this small talk was kind of just filling up the space unnecessarily and kind of filling up your head. And you were kind of like, oh, I don't want that in my head. So, some people can't bear to be in silence. Maybe they feel uncomfortable in their own thoughts. There are a lot of people like that, and they always have something on, like music or a video or something going on in the background all the time. That's okay, but I think you might have had one of these people around you, and so they were filling in the space with conversation, and they didn't really care what the conversation was, whether they were talking about cats or dogs or the weather or anything. They were just filling it in with whatever. And again, you usually don't mind being around these people, but you were just in this mood. You just really, really felt like you wanted a clear head and you wanted to be by yourself. And that might have surprised you as well, that you suddenly kind of found yourself in this mood. And if this is resonating with you, you'll probably start to have these moods quite often in the future, because I think this is about you having a clear mind, so that thoughts come into your mind and ideas come into your mind. And I don't think they're coming from you. I think this might sound really cringy and silly and whatever, but this is what I'm seeing. I think these ideas might be coming from outside of you to help you for some reason. It might be a spiritual reason. This is the High Priestess. So don't run away from being alone in your thoughts if this happens to you in the future, because I think a lot of, or some deep, important thoughts and ideas might keep on coming into your mind if you leave your mind open for them to come in. Now, I think this is probably why you didn't want this small talk and these kind of small thoughts cluttering up the space, because you needed silence, you needed that space. It might have been subconsciously, you might not have actually thought this in words to yourself. But I think this is what was happening. I think you just wanted to keep yourself open to allow these big thoughts and these big ideas to come into your head. It was frustrating, but this was a really good thing that you were experiencing. And so next time it happens, embrace that alone time that you're really craving. That's what I'm seeing. I really hope that makes sense with you and doesn't sound crazy. The next card you have for your past is the Five of Wands. So yes, this is a bit funny to see this actually, because this really relates to what I was seeing in the High Priestess. I think this is how you saw these people, whether you kind of were thinking that logically or not. You're in this introspective mood, and this looks like a great big mess with lots of noise and people and fighting and yelling and screaming and all of that. Now, it wasn't that bad, obviously. It was just some people talking. But I think when you try, this is how it feels to you. Even if there's one person talking, if you want to be by yourself, if you want to meditate, if you want that time, one person going on and on in your ear feels so huge to you. Because I don't think there were that many people around you actually, but it's like, you were trying to find this calm, you were trying to find this silence. And I think sometimes it can, if you want to do that, if you want to meditate or whatever it is, to get that quiet time to yourself, whatever you do, and you can't do that, and it's frustrating you, it can feel a bit like, you're in the middle of a football stadium or something with crowds yelling and screaming around you. It just feels so huge. Even the tiniest noise can drive you crazy. And that happens to me. This is why, like, if you hear me, if I'm doing a reading and a car goes past or a motorbike, and people say to me, I didn't really hear it that much. It was tiny. It wasn't that bad. But for me, I rarely hear it. It feels like a motorbike is on top of my head. That's how bad it feels to me. But it doesn't. It's not. It's just going past in the street. So if I'm just doing whatever else normally, it doesn't worry me. But if I'm in the middle of a reading and I'm really trying to concentrate, I'm really trying to let those things come into me, I'm really trying to see things and kind of see what's in the cards and whatever, and I'm trying to kind of settle my mind and calm my mind and do all of that. I do a lot of preparation before I do these to make sure that I'm calm and in the right state and all of that. And then a motorbike goes past, it's like drilling in my head. So that's why I say, oh no, that noise, and I always talk about it. But anyway, I won't go on about that. But I think when you're in this, at this time, again, back in this, things weren't all bad. You didn't have a terrible time when you're with these people. I think you had some fun times with this family or whatever. There might have been children around you playing as well, which is what I'm seeing in this scene. The other thing I'm seeing in this card is that I'm actually seeing someone who might have been maybe hoping, maybe waiting for something a little bit more serious with you. This is someone who was either already in a relationship with you, or they might have been just seeing you or something, but they wanted to bring whatever you had with them up to another level, or what they saw as another level. They wanted something more than what they had with you. That's what I'm seeing in this card. So this can be the card of kind of playing around. If you look at this card, there are boys on here and they're fighting. But they're kind of play fighting. Nobody's being hurt. Nobody's interested in actually winning, I don't think. They're just messing around. There's nothing very serious happening in this card. It's this whole feeling of not being very serious and just kind of messing around. It's like kids in the playground or whatever. And that might be what this person was a little bit worried about, that you weren't as serious as they'd like you to be, or they wanted the relationship to be more serious than the way you were seeing it. So that was the kind of thing they were thinking about. And I don't know if this person was trying to speak to you about this or whether they were just thinking this. I think they might have just been thinking this. But I think what they wanted was some sort of next level thing that was kind of out in the public, if that makes sense. Something like some sort of title, maybe. I think titles might mean something to them. When I think about titles, they don't mean anything to me at all. I'm always ticking things on forms like doctor, lord, lady, princess, or whatever on forms, and I don't care about them. They mean nothing to me, really. But for this person, they meant a lot to them. They're not like me. They wanted a title, something like boyfriend, wife, girlfriend, fiancé, whatever it was. So they thought about this very, very seriously, and they were worried that you weren't thinking about this as seriously as they were. That's what I'm seeing in that. So the last card you have for your past is the Nine of Pentacles. So again, this woman's totally alone in this card. She's happy being alone. She's content. She's smiling. She's got her bird, and she has all the grapes, and she's got this beautiful garden, and she's happy. So I think this might be what this person's a bit afraid of. They're a bit afraid that you want to be alone, and then you're happy being alone, or you're happy, if it's not alone, at least you're happy not being in anything serious. But whatever's going on inside their head, whatever doubts they have, they are a patient person. Because if you look at this, I'll just move there's a little snail at the bottom of this card. So obviously snails have to be very patient because it takes them forever to get to where they're going. So a bit like me. So they're very, very patient. They were worried about it. They were worrying about their future with you. They're worrying about all these things. But, they love you. They care about you. And they did it this time. And I think they were prepared to wait until you were feeling ready. So they had all this anxiety, but in the back of their mind, they were thinking, no, I'm going to wait. I really do love this person. I care about this person. If it takes time for them to come around to the idea of wanting something serious, then I'll wait. That's the kind of thing I'm getting in that. But the other thing I'm seeing here is, if this does all resonate with you, and you are with someone who might be feeling like that, obviously they're not telling you, but you might, if this is something that you think might be resonating with you, don't keep them waiting, don't keep them wondering for too long, because I think, they are prepared to wait, but I think you really need to be clear about your feelings and what you want, and just make sure that they know exactly where they stand with you, because I think where they stand and where they stand in this relationship is really, really important to them. Even if it isn't to you, it is to them. So respect that and just have a talk to them about that if this is resonating. So the first card you have here present is the Four of Pentacles. So yeah, again, if this relationship situation is all resonating with you, don't hide your heart or your feelings from this person like this man. I mean, he's covering his heart. So this person deserves to know exactly how you feel. And if you're genuinely unsure about your feelings, or you don't know where you want to go, whether you want this to be serious, whether you ever want anything really serious, I don't know. But whatever you feel, I think this person needs to know that. So you need to be open with them. I think they deserve to be able to make their own choices based on real information, not on information that they're imagining. The other thing I'm seeing in this card is something that, is the kind of obvious meaning in this card. I think you might be working on saving some money, and you're very serious on saving this money. And I think there might be a life change that you're working toward that is going to cost you money. You're going to have to save up to do whatever this is. And I think in the past you might have actually been the opposite with your money. You might have had a lot of, you might have been a bit reckless with your money maybe in the past. Maybe you're in debt or something like that. And I think you do have a lot of regrets about money and the way you used to be around money. But you can't go backwards, you can't change any of that. You can only move forwards, and this is what you're trying to do. So you're doing really well with that. But just be a little bit careful of over saving to the point where you don't allow yourself to have any fun or do anything nice or do any fun things or things to make yourself comfortable. You might be trying to make up for lost time by over saving. Say, I have to make up for all those times I was kind of overspending. Now I have to really over save. Because the man on this card looks, obviously he's holding on to his money, but he's sitting on a seat, and this seat looks like a hard bench. Actually, it looks a bit cold and hard. And he could afford to buy a more comfortable seat than that. He has money. Look, he's holding onto his money. He could buy a sofa or a throne, anything with that money that he has, but he's not. He's sitting on this hard old bench. So don't save to the point, or don't be mean. I don't want to pick on you, but don't be mean to the point where you're not comfortable. Make yourself comfortable in your life. Take care of yourself. Take care of your health. Buy good quality food, healthy food, not just any old thing. Make sure that you're feeling comfortable, that you feel good in yourself, that your life's enjoyable. That doesn't have to mean going crazy the other way, but just find a happy balance. Save. It's a good thing to save. I'm saving for something myself. I know, I understand. But don't make yourself miserable while you are. That's what I'm seeing in that card. So the next card you have here present is the Three of Wands. So yeah, this is the card of waiting. This is the card of being patient. I'm actually seeing a family in this card, a family of three actually. And I know people are going to say, that's not what that card means, but yes, the cards have a kind of traditional meaning, a basic meaning, and then I use my intuition on top of that, and I see different things in each card at different times. So yeah, this is just for people who are going to make comments. But yeah, in this card I'm seeing, I am seeing a family. And I don't know if this person you're in a relationship with has a child or whether you have a child. It might be you. It might actually be that they want to have a child with you, which would form the family of three that I'm seeing. But I think this could be what they're ultimately waiting for. I think, they want the title, they want to get further in the relationship. Yes, there's a motorbike. But ultimately, I think their ultimate goal is to be in a family with you. That's what I'm seeing. The man on this card, he's standing on the edge of the water. He's waiting for these three ships to come in. And they're far away from him. They're tiny at this time, but he's prepared to wait. He can see them. He can see them out there, and he's waiting for them to come in. So this is what they want. They want this security. They want this family. So they might be quite traditional in their thinking or in their beliefs, or it might be that they're just more traditional than you. But this is what they ultimately want. This is what they're waiting for. This is what they're holding out for. That's what I'm seeing. If this is all resonating with you, it might not be, but if it is, this is what I'm seeing their ultimate goal is. So the next card you have, your present, is the Ace of Swords. This card can be about clarity, cutting through things that aren't necessary and being left with the things that are. Sometimes this can even be about proposals. And obviously a proposal is something that this person would love. I think this might be, I think someone might be proposing something to you. Not a marriage, but something else. I'm not sure whether this is some kind of business transaction or something money related maybe. I am seeing some kind of transaction, and I think this might be something you initially agreed to do or said that you were interested in, and I'm just getting this feeling of you maybe starting to look at this thing and thinking, and seeing how much of this was going to benefit them and how much might have been benefiting you. And I think it was looking like nothing was going to benefit you, or not very much was going to benefit you. And I think that maybe this person might have wanted to partner with you. This isn't the same person in the Three of Wands. This isn't the person you're in a relationship with. This is somebody else. I think you were just looking at whatever this proposal was, and you were thinking, this is going to mean a lot of hard work for me, and I'm not going to get a lot of benefits from this. And so I think you might have been rethinking this, whatever this was, and I think you'll probably end up saying no to this. I don't think this person's out to trick you or use you or anything terrible like that. I don't think they're a bad person or anything's wrong with them. I just think maybe they're not able to see things from your perspective. They might be excited about whatever this is, and they might just be rushing forward and not think about how this would be a problem for you if you did this. So if this is resonating, I think you might have to do a lot of talking to kind of get yourself out of this situation. And I think you might have to be very careful about the way you speak to this person, and very diplomatic about this, because I don't think this might be a friend. I don't think you want to burn bridges with this person. It's just that this transaction isn't right for you, or whatever this thing is. You want to keep the person, but you don't want to keep the partnership or whatever it is. So you're going to have to be very careful in the way you speak to them. But I think you will ultimately get out of this, and I think you will ultimately keep this person as a friend. I don't think you'll fall out with them or anything like that. So the first card you have for your future is the Six of Pentacles. So again, if you are getting out of this partnership or whatever this is in the Ace of Swords, I'm actually really glad you are, because I think you'd end up being in a position where there would be some kind of imbalance. This person would eventually either think that they're above you in some way, or in their mind, or something would be not in balance between you. If this is a friend, again, I think you're definitely making the right decision, because I think this balance of power would probably end up ending this friendship, I think, anyway. So if this is all resonating with you, I think you have made the right choice, or you will if you haven't already. And you've avoided a lot of potential arguments around money, I think, which are always really bad for friendships. Anytime money's involved in friend. Not always, but a lot of the time, money in friendship isn't a very good thing, especially when one person doesn't understand the other one properly, which is what I've seen happening in the Ace of Swords. But yes, you're making the right decision, so that's really good. I'm glad you are. The next card you have for your future is the Knight of Pentacles. So yeah, I think if you do end up getting out of this partnership, or whatever this is, which I'm seeing that you probably are, you're probably going to end up doing something like this, but by yourself. Some kind of business thing, some kind of money related thing. Now, you're going to be alone with this, and of course, things, when you're alone, when you have one person instead of two people working on something, things are going to happen a lot slower. But they'll be more dependable. Things will be a lot more stable for you, a lot more solid for you, because I think it'll be you. You'll be depending on yourself, nobody else. And so, of course, there's freedom in that. You'll be able to make a lot of decisions by yourself. But yeah, of course, just the sheer amount of hours in the day and being only one person, things are going to move a lot slowly, a bit like this knight who's moving very slowly. He looks like he's not moving at all, actually. But yes, you will be moving, but it'll be a lot slower than you would have if you had someone else working with you. I'm also seeing that in this relationship, that I was seeing in the Three of Wands with this person waiting for a family, I think, I don't think you want to be by yourself, like this person's imagining. I think it might just be that maybe you don't want to rush in. I think you might have been in in a past relationship or something like that, and I think you might have felt a bit pressured in that relationship to rush into things before you were actually totally ready. It might be that you were married, or and you regretted it, or you might have been pushed to become engaged or to move in with someone. And I think you might have been felt that you had to do what was expected of you at the time, to either be in a serious relationship in the past or whatever this was. There might have been a lot of outside pressures, societal pressures, family pressures or something, forcing you to do something that you weren't quite ready for. It was a little bit like, I'm getting this feeling of a runaway train. You're kind of on the train, you can't get off, it's not stopping at any stations, it's express, and you don't want to get to the end destination, but you're stuck on there. It's that feeling that you had. So if this is all resonating, I think you're just being very careful not to make these same mistakes again. I think, this is a good person. But of course, you both need to feel 100% happy before you're going to make any commitments, you or them. But again, tell them what you're thinking. Tell them what happened in your past. Tell them that you were pressured last time. Tell them that, whatever you went through, whatever you're feeling, just be honest with them. Because I keep on seeing that, they want to know where they are with this, and they deserve to know the truth. They really do. So yeah, the last card you have for your future is the Ten of Swords. Yes. So yeah, I think this is a message to you. I think, it might be a warning to you. It looks like a warning. So don't worry, it's not as dramatic as it looks. Nobody's being murdered or anything like that. But if you both, not just you, both of you I'm seeing, if you both keep on going along like this without telling each other how you're truly feeling about this relationship, it is going to lead to a lot of pain. It's going to lead to pain for them, and probably for both of you. It might lead to fights, might lead to arguments, it might lead to a great big horrible ending because nobody's communicating properly. So yeah, this might only be resonating with a few people, but obviously someone needs to hear this message, because I'm seeing this all the way through this reading. I'm seeing a lack of communication. I'm seeing two people seeing a relationship differently from each other, but nobody's telling each other. That's what I'm seeing over and over again. So please sit down, please have a real conversation with this person about how you feel. They need to do that to you as well, have a conversation with you. You both need to know where things stand. You both need to know where you want things to go in this relationship. That's what I'm seeing.